Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 16 is entitled as Devasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the divine and demonic nature. Sloka 8, Part 3. Asatyam apratiṣṭhaṁ te jagad āhur anīśvaram aparaspara-sambhūtaṁ anyat kāma-haitukam. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Something to be noted here in this sloka is that there is no mention of God, Brahman, Bhagavan, Paramatma. Rather, it simply says asatyam, apratiṣṭhaṁ and anīśvaram. It is only through the commentaries of acharyas we can understand the correct meaning of this sloka. Otherwise, we will simply end up understanding this sloka to be the demoniac people do not speak truth. They are liar. They do not agree someone is supporting them. They do not agree that someone is controlling them. But that someone that they are referring is actually Brahman, God, which is not directly mentioned in the sloka. Therefore, their point is, why even we have to bring God into the picture when it's not mentioned in the sloka? Therefore, instead of saying it is not sustained by God, better to say that the world, the jagad, is not sustained by anything. Well, it is obvious that the world and all planetary system are being sustained. Otherwise, we will not be sitting here. This is pratyaksham. We can see it. We can experience it. That the planetary systems are being sustained by something. So that is not the point of the asuras. Their idea is to convey the message that it is certainly not sustained by the Lord. Whatever Krishna established in chapter 15 is completely being denied over here in chapter 16 by the demoniac nature ones. In chapter 15, Krishna said he is the creator. So he is the cause of all causes. He is the Lord within every object as super soul. He is the controller of everything. All that has been said in chapter 15 is totally denied over here in chapter 16 by the asuras. He is not the creator, he is not the super soul, and he is not the controller. Creation happens by itself. No one is situated as Paramatma within anything, and no one controls me. I am the controller of myself. They totally disagree to the scriptural references about the entire creation, how it is from the Lord everything get created, and it is at the time of dissolution all the creation enters into the Lord. There are many references which clearly states how the Lord sustains everything. But as always, the atheistic people do not agree to any of these references. They argue, asking a question, if the earth is supported by something else, what supports that entity which supports the earth? Say, earth is supported by something called A. Then what supports that A? If we say B, then they are going to ask a question, what supports B? If we say C supports B, then they are going to ask, what supports C? In this way, they go into the loop with no final agreement. They say the earth by nature has the power to support and sustain itself. That is, it has the capacity to stay stable in a place without the help of any external agency. If we agree that something is sustaining something, then we end up into a loop of anavastha dosha. To avoid that problem, these people say that the earth is sustained by itself. Well, we have learnt about Prakriti. the material nature, material world, that it doesn't have that caliber to sustain itself. It is not a chit, it is not chetana, it is achetana, it's a non-sentient being. Whereas the Lord is sentient being. He is Sarvagnya, knower of everything. He is Paramachetana, supreme conscious being. Only He can sustain the jagad. The jagad cannot sustain by itself. The problem is when we agree that the earth has the capacity to sustain by itself, then that can be extended to other objects as well. That is, the glass can sustain by itself, a table can sustain by itself, I can sustain myself. The glass doesn't need a table to sustain, the table doesn't need a ground to sustain, and I don't need anything to sustain myself. Why only we have to limit the capacity of self-sustenance to earth? It can be applied to any objects that we see. But the truth is, we all know by pratyaksha that can never be the case. I am supported by the earth. Likewise, the table is supported by the ground. The glass is supported by the table. Similarly, the earth is also supported. The atheist says, well, yes, the glass is weaker in strength, which is supported by the table, and the table is weaker in strength compared to the ground. Therefore, everything is sustained by the greater earth. Then what we say is correct. The world is supported by the gajas, the elephants in all direction, and that is supported by Adisesha, and that Adisesha is supported by Adi Kurma, and that is supported by the Supreme Lord Himself, who is greater in strength than anything else. Since that Lord is greater and superior in strength, power and jnana, knowledge, there is no second which exists equal or greater than the Lord. He has a complete caliber, capacity to support the entire creation and to support Himself without another external agency to support Him. There is another view of some atheists. They say the earth is sustained and rotates by Vayu. And also there's another view of school of thought which says the earth is losing its position periodically and never had its original position to start with. This is a theory of Jainism. When we ask, where is the earth situated? They say, nowhere. Then when we ask how it stays in one position, and they say, it never stays in one position. What do you mean? Well, it has been falling down gradually. Why does it fall? Well, because earth is a heavy object, therefore it keeps falling down continuously. When we ask, where does it land when it finally reaches down? Answer is nowhere. What do you mean? Well, it continues forever to keep falling down with no end. This is their theory. It's like how Mimamsakas, they say moksha is keep going upward with no destination, whereas Jainism says the earth keep going downwards with no destination. All these people do not have faith in the Shastras. So what we learn today is the second theory of the atheistic people, apratiṣṭhaṁ. They say this world is not supported by God, who is the foundation of everything. In our next session, we'll learn what they mean by anīśvaram. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Namaste. Hare Krishna.